For those who don't know, I'm Ross Turle. I'm the Collections Access Manager for Hampshire Cultural Trust, who run the former Hampshire County Council Natural Science Collection, along with a number of other collections, based in Chilcombe House on the edge of Winchester. Have a large collection available for reference, which covers the British fauna and flora from Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, including insects, taxidermy, spirit collection, large herbarium, birds' eggs, and also, although not in the remit of this group, geology and minerals. It is a growing collection, but slowly we do try to limit the collections due to space and make sure it's representative of Hampshire and changes in the ecology and environment. The one collection that does grow on a mostly annual basis is the herbarium collection. We welcome researchers. We have a number of collections we like them to use where possible. Recent inquiries have included bird egg specimens, and there's a book on Hampshire birds been inquired about, access to bird eggs. A couple came down from Cheshire just to look because they're writing a book and wanted Brigadier Simpson's eggs. We also get a lot of artists coming in, drawing inspiration from the collections, but also wanting to draw particular specimens they can't necessarily find in the wild, but want to learn more about. We have species-specific inquiries, such as recently skipper butterflies, looking at the collections we hold to try and see where they've appeared in the county in the past. Many herbarium specimens, but also our own staff use the collections as for our own museum exhibitions. Wider access, we do try and keep the public aware by having tours of our stores at Chilcombe. These can be booked by groups such as U3A groups and interest groups, but once a year we do try and get involved in Heritage Open Days to make sure the general public can just see our collections and know what variety we have. As I said, our own exhibition officers regularly use them. In 2020, we had a wonderful exhibition by Levon Biss of his microsculptures, wonderful images, really large macro photography, which we bolstered with images and specimens from our collection, so people could see the local insects against these rather exotic insects. More recently, we had an exhibition looking at climate change and the impact on species in our Westby Manor Museum. So again, we used specimens from our own collections to show what we have and changes in environment. We're currently planning an exhibition at Gosport, which will be inspired by our herbarium collection, working with an international artist doing a light exhibition, and again using our own species to supplement it. And also there's the longer term displays which use specimens. We're very reliant upon volunteers, it has to be said, and very grateful for our volunteers. We currently have 6 volunteers who come in every Wednesday and work caring for the collections. Not all weekly, some as other commitments permit. We had one long-standing member, Stephen Miles, who sadly has had to stop volunteering, but not before he did a monumental task of cataloguing our bee collection. So each individual species is actually catalogued as opposed to just the bulk collections. Volunteers are still growing. We had 2 new volunteers in the last 6 months. A chap called Stephen Havers working with the insects, and Michelle Fox-Roussel working with the insects in our mineral collections. The regular work done by both the volunteers and our own staff is to make sure that the cataloguing is maintained. As I said, we've had lots of bulk collections in the past, and now trying to do each individual specimen within that bulk collection. Much of our work is taken up with condition checking and environmental monitoring, just to check that there's no infestations and the environment is well kept as best it can be, given the old farm buildings some of our collections are kept in. Regular specimen freezing, that's on a rota to make sure that things are constantly being circled through the freezer to keep infestations down. But also we assist with inquiries to make sure we can answer people's inquiries when they want to access the collections, and a regular auditing of those collections. As I said, we do have recent accessions. Recently we had a collection of moths from Tony Dobson from the Northern County Basingstoke area. And also one of Stephen's Miles' parting gifts was his own collection, or some of his own collection, which we've taken into our collection to represent gaps and fill gaps in our own collections. The recent volunteer work has also continued, as I said, the constant cataloguing. In the last year, they've 4,801 individual records have been created, and that's regular. That would happen quite over the years. Trying to keep on top of some of our collections that are less well catalogued, such as the stoneflies, but also keeping up with revisions when classifications change, perhaps new subspecies are discovered, making sure we try and keep our records up to date with those changes. And also that, as I said, that general auditing and improvement of records. So I mentioned about the level of recording. This is just one of our records. We use a database called Modes, which is used by a lot of smaller to medium-sized museums up and down the country. It means we're able to record all the details, such as donor, where the find spot was, what the species is, but also we can add to that any conservation needs, any exhibition needs, and when it was recorded, where it's stored, so we know where things are, and we can do searches on a number of different fields for an inquirers come along.
Excellent.
Digitisation is an important part of what we do across our collections. It helps us improve identification, means we can start putting things in our online collection, make it known to a wider audience, not just an after science audience, but also just to the wider community who just may be interested. This includes also our social media platform. How long? We've recently taken part in a Arts and Humanities Council's led scoping survey of digitisation, which has been done across the country to try and learn what state of what the state is in various organisations and what they can do to improve and help it. We've been doing our herbarium. It's been a very slow process, as Martin will know, but we're hoping to get that off the ground again so we can get that on a better platform with more detail. One of our volunteers has been taking some wonderful insect images with a layering software, which we hope to get online, which shows some wonderful details, and also our mineral collection. And as a parting, this is kind of one of the level of photography that Stephen's been doing, which we just haven't had before. So I hope I brought things back online. It was a very quick summary of what we're doing at the moment. It just shows, though, the general level of what we do each year, though, just to make sure those collections are kept accessible to the public.